Chapter 1. AX2. Activate. Bright light floods his vision as consciousness returns. Mechanized beeping follows, and then the acrid, familiar smell of disinfectants. And her. His body tenses on blind instinct, muscles engaging as a snarl rips from his throat, but he doesn't move to follow through on the threat. He has learned not to. Temper, she warns him, unfazed over the tapping of her fingertips over keys. You will be pleased to know your body has fully healed during stasis. Your vitals are perfect. Pleased. He breathes evenly. In, out. He holds the exhale until the sinking sensation of despair fades to numb indifference. This is not unexpected. Every assignment they send him on, every time he feels his body rip apart, he falls into unconsciousness with the faint hope that this time, even she won't be able to bring him back. Every time he wakes in the stasis chamber, whole and tasked with a new mission. At least there is comfort in the predictability. How long? He grinds out. Just 5 days this time. Faster than we anticipated, considering the damage. Any pain? No. She taps on her keyboard. The light searing his retinas finally dims, allowing his pupils to dilate enough to take in his familiar surroundings. The stasis chamber is as sterile as the lab beyond. White walls, a chair, and a desk with a computer for her. A steel table and glass cylinders, tubes and needles for him, and the mirror. Sit up, she commands. He obeys instantly, though the lack of pressure in his brain tells him she hasn't activated his chip. She rarely needs to anymore. He stares blankly at his own reflection as she moves from her chair to his side to detach the many tubes from his body. The mirror has been there since day one, hung on the wall where it is the first thing he will see once he has been given permission to sit up. In the beginning, he felt horror at the reflection staring back at him. They brought him back from the brink of death, he's been told. Made him better, stronger, and as a result, skin fused seamlessly with silvery metal, giving the appearance of a creature neither human nor machine. Now, though, there are no visible hints of the engineering that went into crafting the U.S. military's strongest soldier. Artificial skin covers gleaming alloy, allowing him to blend in with the general population when out on assignment. Not that it matters. He knows what he is underneath his human facade. Something less than a person. So does she. Stand. Once again, he obeys her command without hesitation. The concrete beneath his feet is cool, every unevenness in the surface sparking along his hyper-aware nervous system, just as every detail of the stasis chamber and the lab beyond lodges in his brain as he scans his surroundings. Eyes straight ahead, she snaps, unexpected irritation flaring in her voice. She rarely offers any emotional response around him, her demeanor always carefully dispassionate, crafted to provide no added stimulation as he returns from stasis. AX2 flicks his gaze forward. Yes, ma'am. She huffs as she steps close enough that he can feel her body heat against his skin, both artificial and real, and any curiosity her minor burst of annoyance may have awakened in him withers to dust. Focusing on nothing but his own slow breaths, he stares at a point on the wall above her head. When she brushes her palm over his bare chest, he wills his body to remain still, even as a tremor works its way through every nerve ending she touches. He has learned to endure pain during his training. Exhaustion, defeat, endless exposure has forged the soldier they sought, unbreakable, even under torture. But this This is the one weakness they have not been able to carve out of his flesh and replace with steel. In, out. His chest moves under her soft hand as he breathes, his tormentor oblivious to his internal battle as she manually checks over his body. He knows what they'll do if they discover this secret, his one remaining link to a humanity neither he nor they wish to be reminded of. It will be like it was when they rid him of his body's reaction to pain, unrelenting stimulation until his receptors cease to respond. He has endured months of agony, months of sleep deprivation, blood, death. But touch, the warmth of human connection, the pleasure of another sentient being's caress. His nerves hum under her fingertips as she stretches up to press against his face, testing newly healed flesh. This is the one thing he has left that doesn't belong to them, and if they take this too, then he will truly be nothing but the machine they see him as. That she sees him as. He knows her name, but he tries not to use it, even in the quietude of his own mind. Thinking of his tormentor as a person makes it harder to slip into the nothingness that makes his time in her lab tolerable. In the same way he is simply a sophisticated weapon to her, she is to him a nameless, faceless cog in the system that created him. Except when she touches him. In, out.
Still no pain?
She asks, stroking both hands down his shoulders with firm pressure, and he remembers how she answered a call in the lab a few weeks back. How the female voice on the other end called her Addie. The familiarity in the shortening of her name sparking his curiosity. To that woman, she is a person. Perhaps someone dear. To him, she is anything but. No, he grinds out. She flicks her gaze up to his, light gray eyes behind black-rimmed glasses taking in the tightness of his jaw.
Any tension? Discomfort?
No.
Good.
She steps around him to inspect his back, and her shoulder gently bumps against his arm as she does. He isn't prepared for the pressure, isn't braced, and without thinking, he sucks in a small breath, tasting her scent. A faint whiff of her floral shampoo fills his nostrils, and panic hits his brainstem. But it's too late. The kiss of her smell blooms on his palate, warm and female and human, and his body reacts. Shit, there is nothing he can do. They left too much man in him, too much alpha. His abdomen tenses, heat pooling low. Every touch of her fingertips against his back only tightens the pull in his groin, and it's maddening and revolting, and fuck, he never wants her to stop. She does, of course. Once she is sure her prized soldier is fit for battle once more, she pulls her hands from his skin and steps around to his front again. And that is why human touch is the worst of the tortures he endures. It feels like having found the narrowest ledge on an otherwise mirror-smooth cliff surface. Like being allowed one final breath of relief, of hope, before the ledge crumbles and he plummets into the depths of despair once more. She makes a small noise of consternation, and when he dares a glance at her, her cheeks are tinged pink. She moves her gaze from his hard member rising proudly between his thighs, but she doesn't meet his eyes when she says,
"If you experience urges, AX2, you are instructed to take care of them, privately."
"Yes, ma'am." She flattens her lips to a line, and he braces for the sting of his chip. In the beginning, when he had yet to learn caution, she tried to dissuade his urges with pain. Eventually, she conceded, but made it clear he is to handle his biological needs when alone in the lab at night. But today, no punishment follows from the chip embedded in his brain.
All this technology at our fingertips, and I still can't separate the baseness of alpha biology without losing the strength you need to survive your conditioning,
she says, the same irritation from before flaring in her voice.
It's been more than 3 years since your class was created, and we've been unable to make another successful prototype since. But every soldier we mold after those same blueprints has alpha issues.
She makes a gesture in the vague direction of his erection, without looking directly at it.
Too much aggression, too much dominance, too much need.
There are others like him. He blinks, shock throbbing through his blood. She has never spoken to him about others before, nor blatantly shown annoyance at the flaws she finds in him. It's the most human she has ever allowed herself to be in his presence. She huffs out a breath and rubs a hand over her forehead, gaze flicking to his for a short moment.
Ensure you are at optimal functionality by tomorrow morning. We will be honored by a visit from the General at 900 hours, and he is bringing guests. He will expect nothing but perfection, which means I expect nothing but perfection.
She gives him one final hard look before she turns to leave the stasis chamber. Through the thick glass to the lab, he sees her switching off the fluorescent fixtures, leaving only a faint glow from various bits of electronics to illuminate the room beyond. Seconds later, the sound of the door locking behind her lets AX2 know that he is alone. Slowly, he allows his muscles to soften, his stance becoming imperceptibly less rigid even as her words echo in his mind. Something stirs in his gut, something nearly as base, nearly as human as the yearnings her scent ignited. Others. There are others. He is not alone.
You can listen to the rest of the book in the Tempt Romance audiobooks app, available on the App Store and Google Play. The link to the book is in the description. Discover even more bestsellers and exclusive stories updated weekly, only in Tempt Romance audiobooks.